She slept for 2,000 years. Now she remembers everything. The deep hum of the engines filled the quiet corridors of the Starship Odyssey. Captain Elias Kane leaned over the control panel, his fingers brushing lightly against the cold metal as he stared at the readings on the screen. The ship floated near a strange, uncharted system, far beyond any human exploration. Sensors had detected something unusual, a pulse of energy that didn't match any known natural phenomenon. It wasn't a star, it wasn't a planet. Whatever it was, it had been waiting. "Are you sure about this, Elias?" Lieutenant Mara then asked, her voice steady but carrying a hint of doubt. She stood behind him, arms crossed. Her gaze shifted between the glowing panels and the blackness of space outside the viewport. "This system is completely uncharted. We have no maps, no history, we don't even know if it's safe." Elias didn't answer immediately. He always trusted his gut in situations like this, and his gut told him that whatever lay ahead was extraordinary. "Safe," he said finally, a small smile playing on his lips. "Mara, nothing truly worth finding is ever safe." The ship glided silently toward the source of the energy. As they approached, the outlines of a massive structure began to emerge from the darkness. A station larger than any human city, floating in perfect orbit around a cold, dim star. Its surface was cracked, old and pitted, but the glow of its power cores was unmistakable. The station was alive in some way, or at least it had been not long ago by galactic standards. Mara's eyes widened. "It's enormous and old, older than anything in our records. How did something like this survive all this time?" Elias said nothing. He just stared at it, feeling a strange pull in his chest. The energy readings were off the charts. Whatever this place was, it had something inside it, something extraordinary. The Odyssey docked at the station's main airlock. The corridors inside were silent and dark, filled with shadows that stretched unnaturally long in the weak emergency lights. Elias and his team moved carefully, weapons ready but at rest. The air was stale, almost metallic but breathable. This station had been abandoned, yet it still had life humming faintly in its circuits. "Look at this," Mara whispered, pointing to a long hallway lined with chambers. Most were empty, their contents gone or destroyed over centuries. But at the far end of the corridor, a single chamber glowed faintly, bathed in soft blue light. It was a stasis pod. Elias approached slowly. The pod's surface was smooth, almost seamless. The control panel beside it flickered weakly. Symbols appeared, old and alien, but a translation interface quickly decoded them. The words were simple, patient. Lyra, sleep duration, 2,000 standard years. Status, stable. Mara's voice trembled. 2,000 years, she's been asleep longer than any human could imagine. Alive but asleep for 2,000 years. Elias nodded. "We need to wake her, carefully." The pod hissed as Elias entered the sequence. Lights flared, small motors hummed. The glass dome slowly retracted, revealing the figure inside. Lyra lay still, her body flawless, untouched by time. Her skin was pale but warm beneath the faint glow. Her hair, dark as the void outside, framed her face perfectly, as though sculpted by some master artist. Her chest rose and fell steadily, confirming she was alive. She looked peaceful, like someone dreaming in a world far away. But Elias felt an odd unease as he gazed at her. There was a weight in her presence, a power hidden beneath her stillness, as though she carried with her the secrets of centuries. Then slowly, her eyes opened. They were violet, sharp, and intelligent. They scanned the room with clarity, awareness far beyond anything human. Elias and Mara stepped back instinctively. Lyra's gaze landed on them, and for a moment the station seemed to fall silent, the hum of the Odyssey fading into nothing. "I remember," she said, her voice soft but carrying strength. "Everything." Elias froze. "Everything." Lyra nodded slightly. Her lips curved in a faint, enigmatic smile. 2,000 years, I remember it all, every star, every planet, every life and death." Mara swallowed hard. Captain, what does she mean? Elias shook his head slowly, still staring at Lyra. I think we just found someone who knows the galaxy we have never seen. Someone who has lived through it, in ways we can't imagine. Lyra rose from the pod. Her movements were graceful, fluid, and completely alien. She looked at each human as though she were weighing their souls. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. There was knowledge in her gaze that could reshape entire civilizations. You are human, she said, her voice curious now. Yet you survived, you lasted after everything fell. Elias stepped forward, keeping his hands open. We're explorers, humans. We find things, learn things, and sometimes we survive where others don't. Lyra tilted her head, studying him. You are brave or foolish. Perhaps both. I see potential in you. Potential to carry something important. Something important? Mara asked. What do you mean? Lyra's eyes softened, though her presence remained commanding. Long ago, the galaxy was vast and proud. Civilizations rose, civilizations fell. I watched empires crumble, alliances shatter, and wars consume countless worlds. I remember the secrets of those lost ages: knowledge, weapons, technologies, alliances, some too dangerous to awaken, some necessary for survival. You humans may be the first I can trust. Elias took a cautious step closer. Why us? Why now? She looked away briefly, gazing out at the dim star through the station's viewport. Because the galaxy is empty, silent, waiting for something. And because you have courage, something the others lacked. Perhaps you can learn, perhaps you can change it. Mara shivered. She's frightening, in a good way, I think. Lyra's gaze returned to them. I need answers. I need to know what has happened while I slept. And you will help me see it. But first, I need to remember fully. She moved toward the station's central chamber, a place that seemed to pulse faintly with the same energy that had drawn the Odyssey here. Elias followed, Mara close behind. As they walked, Lyra's fingers brushed the walls, leaving trails of faint light in her wake. It was as if the station itself recognized her presence, responding to something only she understood. In the central chamber, Lyra paused. Panels flickered to life at her touch, ancient scripts scrolling across the surfaces. Elias and Mara watched in awe as she accessed systems that had been dormant for 2 millennia. Holographic images of galaxies, star systems, and planets appeared, spinning slowly in the air. Some were familiar, others were unknown even to the most advanced human telescopes. This, Lyra whispered almost to herself, this is what I remember, the galaxy before it fell. Elias leaned closer. You knew all this before, 2,000 years ago. Lyra's eyes glimmered. Not just knew, I lived it, I guided it, and I witnessed its end. A chill ran down Mara's spine. End? What happened? Lyra's voice was steady, calm, yet carried a weight of sorrow. Civilizations grew too proud, too greedy. They sought power beyond comprehension. Wars broke out across the stars. Empires fell into ruin. And I could do nothing to stop it all. Elias' jaw tightened. But you survived, somehow. Lyra turned to him, her expression unreadable. Yes, I survived, and now I remember everything. Every strategy, every betrayal, every mistake. And I see now the galaxy is fragile. Humanity, you could be the hope it needs, or the next failure. Mara glanced at Elias, worry in her eyes. Captain, what are we getting into? Elias felt a thrill of excitement. Fear, too, but mostly he felt the weight of responsibility. Whatever it is, Mara, we can't turn back now. Lyra nodded, her violet eyes blazing with quiet intensity. Good, then let us begin. There is much to remember and even more to do. The galaxy has waited long enough. The chamber hummed with energy as Lyra began accessing the station's deepest archives. Images of ancient wars, starships, and entire civilizations flooded the air, projected in shimmering holograms. Elias and Mara stared in awe. They were seeing history, not just records but memories, through the eyes of someone who had lived it all. And as the humans watched, Lyra's voice echoed through the chamber. I have slept for 2,000 years. Now I remember everything, and the galaxy will never be the same. The station seemed to shiver, as if awakening alongside her. Outside, the dim star cast its pale light across the hull. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the uncharted systems, the future waited. And for the first time in millennia, someone remembered it. Elias knew in that moment that humanity's place in the galaxy was about to change forever. Lyra turned to him, a faint smile on her lips. "Are you ready, human? The story of the stars begins again, and this time you will be part of it." Elias swallowed, feeling both fear and exhilaration. "Yes," he said, his voice steady. "We're ready." The central chamber of the ancient station buzzed faintly, a low hum of energy vibrating through the floors and walls. Elias, Mara, and the rest of the crew followed Lyra as she moved with purpose, her violet eyes scanning every holographic projection that flickered to life around them. Stars, planets, entire star systems, even maps of civilizations that had long vanished appeared in midair, spinning slowly in ghostly blue light. "This," Mara whispered, stepping closer to one of the displays. "This is beyond anything we've ever seen." "How can one person know so much?" Lyra didn't answer immediately. Her gaze was fixed on a rotating hologram of a sprawling galaxy, full of vibrant worlds and intricate star lanes. "I was not always like this," she said softly. "I remember the time before the fall. I remember when the galaxy was alive with energy, with ambition, with power. I lived through empires rising and empires falling. I guided, I watched, I learned, and I survived. That knowledge is mine now, and soon it will be yours." Elias took a step closer, studying her intently. "If what you know is real, then humanity is looking at the largest history lesson ever recorded. We could learn from your knowledge, from your memories, but how can we trust it?" Lyra tilted her head, a faint smile crossing her face. "Trust is earned. You will see, human. You will prove whether you are worthy of the galaxy's secrets or not." The room shifted as Lyra approached another console. Her fingers hovered over the controls, and suddenly, the station's walls lit up with the images of long-forgotten star systems. Civilizations blinked into existence around them, some thriving, others crumbling, entire fleets of warships frozen mid-battle in holographic form. "These are records of what once was," Lyra said. "Civilizations that believed themselves eternal, that thought their knowledge and power would last forever. They did not. They fell to hubris, betrayal, war, and to themselves. I remember the last days of it all, the wars, the betrayals, the fall of stars." Mara shivered. You lived through all this. You saw civilizations die?" Lyra nodded, her eyes distant, almost sorrowful. "I was there. I witnessed it. I tried to save some, guide others. But in the end I could do little. And yet I survived. I remember everything so that the mistakes of the past may not be repeated." Elias felt a chill run through him. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and now he realized humanity was still so small, so untested. And yet he felt something else too, a spark of hope. Perhaps humans, unlike the civilizations Lyra had seen fall, could rise to meet challenges that had destroyed others. "Show us," he said. "Show us what we need to know. Tell us what we can learn." Lyra's gaze shifted to him, sharp and assessing. "Very well, but know this. Knowledge can be a weapon as much as it is a tool. Use it wisely, or it will destroy you as it destroyed others before you." She reached out to the main console and the images shifted. One by one, Lyra began recounting the civilizations she had known. There was the Tessari Empire, a civilization of scholars and warriors who controlled vast swathes of space. They were brilliant, innovative, yet arrogant, believing their power unassailable. Then came the Kaldan Collective, a loose federation of planets bound together by trade and diplomacy, which fell to internal betrayal. Lyra described wars that spanned centuries, alliances forged and broken, fleets that burned entire star systems in conflict. Elias and Mara listened, spellbound. Their human understanding of history was shallow compared to this. They had studied the rise and fall of empires on Earth, but these were civilizations that had conquered galaxies, civilizations that had fallen into ruin, leaving only memories behind. And humanity, Lyra said, her voice turning serious, is at a crossroads. You are young, untested, but capable of greatness. The galaxy, it waits for one who can rise above the mistakes of the past. Perhaps that one is you, Mara frowned. And if we fail, if humans make the same mistakes, Lyra's expression was sharp. Then the galaxy will repeat its cycle. Stars will burn, civilizations will die, and all that remains will be memory, like me. The room fell silent. Elias felt the weight of her words. Humanity had survived against odds, yes, but now they were being measured against civilizations that had lasted centuries, that had wielded power beyond imagination. And yet, in Lyra's eyes, he saw belief, belief that humans could rise to the challenge. Suddenly, a faint alert rang through the station. The screens flickered, showing movement on the outer docks. "Captain," Mara said, pointing, "we're not alone." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "No, you are right. There are others who know I have awakened. Others who will come to claim what I know for themselves. You must be ready." Elias grabbed his communicator. "All crew, prepare for potential intruders. We don't know what we're facing." Minutes later, the first intruders arrived, human in appearance but armed and organized. They were part of a rogue faction, sent by a wealthy consortium eager to capture Lyra and exploit her knowledge for profit and power. They didn't care about history, about learning. They only wanted advantage. The intruders stormed the chamber. Weapons raised, they advanced with confidence, certain that a century-sleeping woman posed no threat. Elias and Mara positioned themselves in front of Lyra. "Step back," Lyra said, her voice calm but firm. "I do not wish to harm you, but I will defend what must be protected." Before anyone could react, Lyra extended her hand. A sudden pulse of energy erupted from her, striking the intruders with such force that they were thrown back against the walls. Their weapons flew from their hands, clattering across the metal floor. The humans stared in shock. They had expected a vulnerable, centuries-old woman, not this. Elias caught his breath. What are you?" Lyra turned to him, her expression unreadable. "I am what survives when civilizations fail. I am the memory of the galaxy. And I will not be taken lightly." Mara shook her head in disbelief. We thought we were protecting you, but you're more than we imagined." Lyra's gaze softened just slightly. "You have courage, humans. That is why you are here at this moment. That is why I trust you for now. But understand this, the galaxy is not empty, and there are those who will stop at nothing to claim its power. You must learn quickly and you must act wisely." The rogue intruders retreated, regrouping outside the chamber. Lyra's energy pulse had been enough to buy time, but Elias knew it was only temporary. They would be back stronger, more determined. Lyra turned to Elias. "We cannot remain here. The station is a beacon now, drawing attention. We must move to the lost archives. There, you will learn what you need. There, you will begin to understand what humanity can become." The lost archives were deep within the station, a vast library of holographic records and technology far beyond human understanding. As they moved through the corridors, Lyra explained fragments of her memories. She spoke of weapons that could destroy planets, of energy sources that could power entire systems, of civilizations that had mastered faster-than-light travel centuries before humans had even conceived of it. Elias felt the weight of their task. Humanity had survived against odds, yes, but now they were being measured against civilizations that had lasted centuries, that had wielded power beyond imagination. And yet, in Lyra's eyes, he saw belief, belief that humans could rise to the challenge. They arrived at the archives. Holographic projectors lit up the chamber, displaying records of ancient civilizations, star maps, and detailed schematics of technologies long lost. Lyra guided the humans through them, explaining the uses and dangers of each. Knowledge is power, she said, but it is also a test. You must decide what to take, what to leave, and how to act. Many before you failed this test. Do not be like them. Elias nodded. We will learn, we will do better. Lyra smiled faintly. Then perhaps there is hope. Hours passed as they explored the archives. The humans absorbed knowledge at a pace they could scarcely imagine. Lyra taught them strategies for diplomacy, defense, and survival in a galaxy filled with civilizations both friendly and hostile. She also shared cautionary tales, examples of leaders who had fallen to greed, pride, or betrayal. Mara finally spoke, breaking the silence. Lyra, why did you sleep? Why did you let yourself be hidden for 2,000 years? Lyra's gaze darkened. Because I could not act alone. The galaxy was too fragile, the threats too numerous. I needed time and perhaps I needed someone to rise who could handle what I could not. And now you are here. Perhaps the galaxy's new chapter will be written by those who have courage, who can endure, and who will act wisely. Elias felt the enormity of her words. Humanity was small, young, and untested, but for the first time he felt they had a guide, a mentor, and an ally who could teach them to rise above every challenge the galaxy had to offer. Outside, the rogue faction regrouped. They would return stronger, hungrier. But inside the archives, humans were learning, growing, and preparing. And with Lyra's memories guiding them, they were beginning to see that survival was not enough. They had to thrive. Lyra looked at Elias and Mara. Tomorrow, we begin the first journey. You will see worlds you never imagined. You will meet civilizations you never knew existed. And you will face challenges that will test every skill, every thought, every choice you have. Are you ready to step into the galaxy? Elias drew a deep breath. We are ready. Lyra nodded. Good. Then the story of humanity's next chapter begins now, and I will be with you every step of the way. For the first time in 2,000 years, Lyra felt the pulse of life around her. Not just the hum of a station, not just the spinning of stars, but the energy of hope, courage, and possibility. Humanity had awakened in her eyes a new purpose. And the galaxy, vast and dangerous as it was, waited for their first move. Outside, the stars shimmered, distant yet full of promise. Within the station, humanity prepared for the adventure that would define their future. And Lyra, who remembered everything, watched them, ready to guide them into the unknown. The Odyssey drifted through uncharted space, guided by Lyra's precise directions. The stars outside looked familiar and strange all at once, twisting in formations that no human telescope had ever recorded. Elias piloted the ship carefully, occasionally glancing at Lyra who sat beside him, her violet eyes scanning the holographic star maps projected in front of them. This system, Lyra said, pointing to a cluster of blinking stars, was once a hub for the Carthan Alliance. Trade, diplomacy, learning, and ultimately betrayal. The galaxy lost much when it fell, but remnants remain. You will see. Mara leaned forward, excitement and nervousness mixing in her voice. You really think we can find these remnants, after 2,000 years? Lyra smiled faintly. Some things endure. Some knowledge survives even the fall of civilizations. And some beings, well, they are stubborn enough to resist time itself. As the Odyssey approached the first system Lyra had marked, the crew's sensors began picking up faint artificial signals. There were structures orbiting a lifeless planet, remnants of a space station, long abandoned, yet surprisingly intact. Elias slowed the ship. This is incredible. Look at the scale. How did any of this survive 2 millennia? Lyra's gaze softened. Because some things were built to last, and because those who built them understood the fragility of life and the importance of preservation. We must be careful. Not all remnants are as peaceful as they seem. They docked at the station, which, despite its age, welcomed them silently. Inside, corridors twisted like a labyrinth, with glowing alien symbols guiding their path. Lyra led them to the central chamber, where a massive holographic table displayed a map of the galaxy, highlighting the Carthan remnants and their allies. "Here is knowledge," Lyra said. "That can help humanity grow, but it is dangerous. Every path has consequences. You must choose wisely." Suddenly, the station shuddered. Sensors detected multiple ships approaching, heavily armed, sleek, and unlike anything humans had encountered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You are being followed. Those who wish to take the knowledge for themselves have found us. Prepare for contact." The crew readied weapons and shields, but Lyra stopped them. "Do not act rashly. Observe first." The incoming ships formed a blockade surrounding the ancient station. Elias felt a twinge of fear. "They could destroy us." Lyra shook her head. "Not if we use knowledge." She activated the station's systems. Defense turrets emerged, long dormant but functional. Shields flared to life, casting a protective glow over the hull. The rogue ships hesitated, clearly surprised by the station's sudden activity. "Humans," Lyra said, "watch closely. Learning is not just reading history, it is understanding how to survive it." Using a combination of precise calculations and strategic maneuvers, Lyra directed the station's defenses. Energy beams lanced through space, disabling enemy weapons and forcing their ships to retreat. The crew watched in awe. Human tactics had been part of the defense, but it was Lyra's memory and understanding of the station's systems that turned the tide. After the threat passed, Elias exhaled. "That was incredible. You didn't just remember, you commanded it." Lyra looked at him, calm and focused. "Remembering is useless without action. Knowledge must be applied, otherwise it is wasted." With the immediate danger gone, Lyra guided the humans to the archives of the Carthan Alliance. Holographic files detailed technologies humans had only dreamed of. Faster-than-light drives capable of reaching distant galaxies in weeks. Energy weapons powerful enough to alter planetary climates. And archives of diplomacy and science far beyond human understanding. Mara traced her fingers over the projections. "All of this, it's amazing, but how do we use it? Some of it could be dangerous." Lyra's gaze was sharp. "You will not use it recklessly. Every choice must be weighed. Humanity's survival depends not on raw power alone, but on wisdom and courage. Learn, understand, and act responsibly. That is the test." Elias studied the maps, noting star systems and planets long forgotten. "Lyra, do you trust humans enough to guide them through all this?" Her eyes softened, a rare warmth touching her violet gaze. "I do. I have seen countless civilizations fail because their people lacked courage or wisdom. Humans, you are young, untested, but I see potential. That potential must be honed or it will fade." Days passed as Lyra taught the crew. They learned navigation, diplomacy, and the history of civilizations that had risen and fallen. They practiced using ancient technology under Lyra's supervision, understanding that even a simple misstep could have catastrophic consequences. But peace did not last. Reports came in of a rogue faction, the same one that had attacked before, now gathering a fleet. They intended to intercept humanity before they could learn the galaxy's secrets. Lyra's eyes darkened. "They are relentless. We must act decisively or all we have gained will be lost." Elias nodded. "Then we take the fight to them." Lyra shook her head slightly. "Not yet. Knowledge first, then action. We must prepare or even courage will not be enough." She led the crew to a hidden section of the station, revealing a vault filled with advanced starships and equipment designed by civilizations that no longer existed. "These ships," she said, "are more than vessels, they are lessons. Learn how to operate them, understand their limitations, respect their power. Only then can humans face the galaxy as equals, not prey." The humans trained tirelessly. Days blended into nights, or rather, hours into months, for the stars outside offered no natural markers of time. Lyra's memory guided every lesson, her knowledge precise and unerring. She watched as humans adapted quickly, their creativity surprising even her. Where older civilizations had relied solely on technology, humans combined intellect, instinct, and improvisation, a combination that Lyra had rarely seen before. One evening, as Elias observed the crew, he realized how much had changed in just a short time. "Lyra," he said quietly, "you've taught us so much, but do you think humans are ready for the galaxy?" Lyra's gaze was distant, thoughtful. "Not yet, but they will be. You have courage, adaptability, and a willingness to learn. That is what older civilizations often lacked. You will be tested many times. Some will survive, some will fail, but humans, I believe you can rise." Mara approached, her expression tense. "Captain, Lyra mentioned a hidden system, a place with an artifact of incredible power. Should we seek it?" Lyra's eyes glinted. "The artifact is a key, a test, and a responsibility. It has survived because civilizations feared its misuse. It can elevate humanity or destroy it. To seek it without preparation is to court disaster. You must learn, grow, and prove that you are ready." Elias considered this, feeling the weight of responsibility. "Then we prepare, not just for the artifact but for the galaxy itself." As training continued, reports arrived from distant sensors, signals from civilizations humans had never known. Some were hostile, some neutral, and some friendly though cautious. Lyra studied each signal carefully. "The galaxy is awakening to our presence. We are no longer hidden. We are becoming players, not observers. Every move will matter." The first challenge arrived sooner than expected. A small fleet of unknown alien ships appeared near a neighboring system. They moved deliberately, scanning, probing, testing. Lyra instructed the humans to observe first. "Do not act rashly," she said. "The galaxy tests patience as much as strength." Elias guided the Odyssey close enough to see the ships. They were elegant, almost organic in design, unlike anything humans had encountered. The crew held their breath as Lyra activated a long-dormant alien communication array. A faint melodic signal echoed through space, a message not yet understood. Lyra translated the tones into a language of intent. "They are cautious, not hostile yet. They recognize knowledge, they sense power. They are waiting to see how we will act." Mara whispered, "So the galaxy is alive, it's watching us." Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, and humanity is stepping into the spotlight. Every choice you make now will ripple through the stars. This is why I awoke, to guide, to teach, to prepare you, but also to see if you are ready." Elias felt the enormity of her words. Humanity had survived on Earth, fought wars, faced disasters, but nothing had prepared them for the scale, the stakes, or the responsibilities of the galaxy. Yet for the first time he felt a spark of confidence. With Lyra's memories and guidance, humans might not just survive, they might thrive, becoming the galaxy's next hope. The alien fleet lingered, observing, waiting. Lyra looked at Elias. "Tomorrow, you will make the first choice. How you act will define humanity in the eyes of the stars. Are you ready to be more than explorers, more than survivors? Are you ready to be participants in the galaxy's future?" Elias nodded. "We are ready." Lyra's violet eyes glimmered in approval. "Then rest tonight, humans. Tomorrow the galaxy watches, and we begin the journey that will shape the stars themselves." Outside, the uncharted stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Inside, humanity trained, learned, and prepared, guided by someone who remembered everything, and who now believed they could rise to meet the galaxy's challenges. For Lyra, the past and the present collided in every lesson she taught. For humans, the future stretched out before them, unknown, dangerous, but filled with potential. And for the first time in 2,000 years, someone remembered it all, and the galaxy seemed ready to listen. The Odyssey glided through the dark void of space, its hull reflecting the distant light of stars that had never seen human eyes. Lyra sat at the navigation console, her violet eyes scanning the star maps, glowing softly in the dim cabin. Elias stood behind her, fists clenched around the railing as he studied the approaching system. The hidden system Lyra had mentioned, the one containing the artifact, was not just a destination. It was a test, and Elias could feel the weight of the galaxy pressing down on them. This system, Lyra said, her voice calm but firm, was once sacred. Civilizations that survived for centuries built it as a refuge, a vault for knowledge and power. The artifact inside is not just technology, it is responsibility, and only those prepared to bear it can survive its presence. Mara leaned forward, her hands resting on the console. And if we fail, what happens if it falls into the wrong hands? Lyra's gaze hardened. Then the galaxy suffers as it always has, cycles of destruction, corruption, and betrayal. The artifact is not a weapon to wield lightly. It is a test of character, of will, of wisdom. The system came into view. Its stars were faint, almost as if the light itself feared to shine. Planets orbited silently, and in the outer ring of asteroids a massive station floated. It was ancient, larger than anything humans had encountered before. Its surface was scarred by time, yet a faint glow pulsed within its hull, as if the station itself were alive, waiting for those worthy enough to enter. "Prepare for docking," Elias said, his voice steady. "We don't know what's waiting inside." Lyra rose, her movements smooth and deliberate. "We are not here to fight, not yet. This is a trial. The artifact will test you before anyone else does. You must be ready, human in mind and spirit." The Odyssey docked at the station, and the airlock hissed open. The crew stepped cautiously onto the metal surface, their weapons ready but held low. The corridors inside were vast and silent, lit by the station's faint energy glow. Strange alien symbols lined the walls, ancient and powerful. Lyra's fingers brushed them lightly as they passed, and faint trails of light followed, as though the station itself recognized her presence. "This way," Lyra said, leading them down a spiral corridor toward the heart of the station. "The artifact lies ahead, but it will not reveal itself easily. It will test your resolve, your courage, and your mind." Hours passed as they navigated the labyrinthine hallways. Automated defenses lay dormant, waiting for intruders. At one point, a corridor filled with energy barriers forced the crew to rely on Lyra's knowledge to pass safely. Each challenge was a lesson in strategy and teamwork, and Elias noticed how quickly the crew adapted, improvising solutions using both human ingenuity and Lyra's guidance. Finally, they reached a massive chamber, its ceiling lost in shadow. At the center, the artifact hovered above a pedestal, glowing faintly. Its design was unlike anything human technology had produced. Crystalline and metallic, it seemed alive, pulsing with energy in rhythm with the station itself. Lyra's eyes softened as she approached it. "This is what has survived for 2,000 years. The civilizations that built it knew its power and they feared its misuse. You must decide if you are ready to bear it, and if you fail, it will not forgive." Elias stepped forward, his breath steady despite the awe that gripped him. "What is it? How does it work?" Lyra shook her head. "It is not for me to tell you. You must learn through action. Approach it and it will judge you. Only those with courage, wisdom, and restraint will succeed." He glanced at Mara, who nodded. Both of them took careful steps toward the artifact. As they neared, the chamber's energy surged, and holographic images appeared around them, visions of civilizations that had once possessed the artifact. Some had fallen to greed, others to fear. The images were vivid, showing entire planets destroyed by misuse, fleets obliterated by rash decisions. "It's showing us the past," Mara whispered, her voice trembling. "The choices others made, the consequences." Lyra's voice echoed in the chamber. "Do not fear the visions. Learn from them. Understand the responsibility that comes with knowledge." Elias reached out, placing a hand near the artifact. A pulse of energy surged through him, and he felt memories and knowledge flood his mind. He saw civilizations he had never known, their triumphs and their failures. He felt their pride, their fear, their greed, and their courage. He stepped back, breathless. It's incredible. I can feel their history, everything they went through. Mara followed, her hand trembling slightly as she approached. The artifact reacted to her presence, sending visions of her own, a future where humans rose to meet the galaxy's challenges, but also one where failure brought destruction. She gasped, taking a step back. Lyra stepped closer, placing her hand lightly on the artifact. You are learning not just with your minds, but with your spirits. The artifact tests resolve, judgment, and character. It measures not only knowledge, but intention. Only if you act with wisdom and courage will it recognize you as worthy. Suddenly, the station shuddered. Sensors detected movement. Rogue faction ships had arrived, drawn by the artifact's energy. Lyra's eyes narrowed. They have come, but this is not their trial. It is yours. Elias turned to the crew. Weapons ready, shields up, but remember, Lyra is right. We can't act rashly. The rogue faction attempted to breach the chamber, but the artifact reacted, creating protective energy barriers that pushed them back. Its power was immense, but it did not strike aggressively. It waited, judged, tested. Lyra moved closer to Elias. You must act, human. The artifact shows your potential, but it also tests your heart. Do you act out of fear, out of desire for power, or do you act for what is right? Elias took a deep breath, focusing on the crew and the future they could shape. We act together. We protect what we must, not for ourselves, but for the galaxy. That is our choice. He gestured to the crew, who followed his lead. Using a combination of their ships, tactics, and the station's defenses, they created a strategy that forced the intruders to retreat. But the artifact's power did not wane. It responded to their courage and unity, glowing brighter, pulsing stronger. Mara looked at Elias, awe in her eyes. We did it. We passed some kind of test. Lyra smiled, faint but proud. Yes, you have shown courage, wisdom, and unity. The artifact has recognized your potential, but the trial is not over. Its full power is yet to be understood, and there will be those who try to claim it, who will test you further. Elias stepped forward, placing a hand on the artifact. A wave of energy surged through him again, but this time it was different. The artifact seemed to accept him, granting a faint connection to the knowledge and technology of civilizations long gone. He felt not just their triumphs, but their lessons, strategies for survival, diplomacy, and growth. This is incredible, he whispered. I can see it, understand it, learn from it. Lyra nodded. And now you must carry this knowledge forward. The galaxy watches, human. Every choice you make will ripple across the stars. The artifact is a test, yes, but it is also a responsibility. You have passed part of it. Now you must prepare for what comes next. The rogue faction ships retreated beyond sensor range, but their presence was a stark reminder. Humanity was no longer alone. They were being watched, measured, and tested by forces both known and unknown. And the artifact had shown them that courage, wisdom, and unity were the keys to survival, not just strength or technology. Elias turned to Lyra. We've learned so much, but we're just getting started. What comes next? Lyra's violet eyes glimmered with a rare warmth. Now, humans, you take the first steps into the galaxy. You will meet civilizations, face threats, and make choices that will shape the future. The artifact has shown your potential, but potential alone is not enough. Action, courage, and wisdom will define your legacy. Mara looked at the glowing artifact one last time. I can't believe we're standing here, learning from someone who has lived through 2,000 years of history. Lyra's gaze softened. And now, you will learn from it too. You are not just survivors, humans. You are students of the galaxy, and one day you may be its teachers. But remember this, the galaxy tests all who seek power. Only those who act with integrity, courage, and wisdom endure. Elias nodded, determination in his eyes. We understand. And we're ready to face whatever comes. Lyra's smile grew faintly. Good, then let the journey continue. You have passed part of the trial, but the galaxy is vast and true tests lie ahead. You will rise or fall. The choice is yours. As the crew of the Odyssey prepared to leave the station, Elias felt the enormity of their mission. Humanity had survived countless challenges on their home planet, but now, with Lyra's memories guiding them, they were stepping into a galaxy filled with ancient knowledge, hidden dangers, and opportunities that could shape their species forever. Lyra, standing beside him, looked at the stars beyond the viewport. For the first time in 2,000 years, she felt the pulse of life, the courage, curiosity, and potential of a species that might finally rise to meet the galaxy's expectations. And she knew that the artifact and the trials ahead would reveal whether humanity was truly ready to take its place among the stars. The Odyssey lifted off from the ancient station, its engines humming as it entered hyperspace. The galaxy awaited, full of challenges, allies, enemies, and mysteries yet to be discovered. And for the first time in centuries, humanity was ready to meet it, not as observers, but as active participants in the story of the stars. Lyra's violet eyes glimmered with quiet pride. "The galaxy is alive," she whispered, "and now so are you.